Welcome back to our show today with Greg Wood, our new Executive Director at Hospice of the Ozarks. Greg, what's going on over at Hospice?
Well, we are very busy at Hospice of the Ozarks. I've just been there 3 months, and so
welcome to the area.
I'm so excited.
You getting
to be
all
here.
adjusted? And
I am. I'm very, very excited to be here.
Heat and all.
Heat and all, but you know where I came from, it's just as hot there too.
You came from
Oklahoma.
Oh,
so
gosh.
it's very hot over
Yeah.
there, but less trees, and so more
Beautiful.
wind.
Yeah.
So this is really pretty. I really enjoy being here, and my wife and our house sold this last week.
Oh, congratulations.
So we're very excited.
Any house that sells is something to celebrate.
It's very good news.
Yeah.
So to have my family come and be here now with me in the next month, I'm very, very excited for that.
Good, good.
But I have a big learning curve, of course.
Well, sure.
Being here, I was in hospice care before I got here with a hospice in Oklahoma for a little over 10 years. But this organization is uniquely different from where I came from. There are hospices that are set up in different formats. Mm-hmm. We have not-for-profit and for-profit, of course, and then we have hospices that are freestanding, some that are connected with hospital systems. Mm-hmm. Some are connected to nursing homes. Mm-hmm. Some are connected to just home healths. And so there's different varieties of hospice organizations. So this is a new learning curve for me, is being connected to the hospital system. But I am so impressed of how everybody has been so welcoming, how supportive the organization and the hospital and the area has been. I'm so thankful to be here.
Yep. Well, we're delighted that you're here and bring all that wonderful experience with you.
Thanks.
And our hospice house, I think, is just spectacular. I've seen other hospice houses around the country, and boy, ours can stand up next to anyone. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. We are so fortunate to have this facility in this part of the state. Mm-hmm. It's not a common thing for a hospice organization to take on their own inpatient facility and provide that care for patients that are just struggling to have symptoms managed at their own home and may need more skilled care for several hours at a time. And so to have that setting right here in North Central Arkansas is phenomenal. And it's only 6 years old, so it's beautifully done, well supported. I've been so amazed at the community support for this facility, and to watch it succeed and become what it needs to be and what it is today.
And what it needs to be, I think it's always so crucial to explain to folks. There's so much misunderstanding about what hospice is and what hospice does. So could you address that just a little bit today?
Yeah, hospice care is specifically a model of care that is looking to support a patient who is facing end-of-life care. Unfortunately, hospices across this country are typically more involved with the patient and family in the final days. And yet the hospice benefit in Medicare, along with just the organization's policies and procedures, we want to be there longer in a person's life, few months at a time. And if we can be there in a patient's and their family's existence for months at a time with the model of care such as the doctor, the nurse, social worker, the chaplain, the volunteer, the hospice aide, if all of these individuals can become part of supporting that patient and family in their final months, it will not only help them come to a place of peace, comfort, be pain-free as much as possible. It is a support to the family as well, who has all of these questions and concerns, and they're exhausted from caregiving. We can be a gift and a help to that entire family system. So
that the decisions that the actual patient can still be part of the, hopefully part of the decision-making process.
It's so
first
important.
And foremost.
Absolutely,
crucial.
it is self-determination. They do it their way.
Sure, then they can have, I mean, it's really expanding on their quality of life.
Exactly.
Okay. You can't expand it, but you certainly can have quality.
That is our purpose for existing every day, is what can we help make this day better?
Right.
Make this one of the most memorable days of your life today.
And I know your staff is so unique and
we are
so well
fortunate.
trained.
They're trained well, they're compassionate, they are full of passion to be present for patients who are going through a very difficult time in their life and supporting their family.
Yep.
I love how hospice care addresses that no man or woman is an island to ourselves. We are all connected to somebody, and hospice care wants to make sure everybody that's in part of this picture is included in this picture to make it a memorable, hopeful, enjoyable day, and to laugh and to giggle and to talk and to
enjoy
cry
the life
and to
that you
all
have
those things.
today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what is the focus, is that quality of how to make this a better day.
And for those that may not have ever had the wonderful opportunity to see the inside of the hospice house,
Yes.
the word house is certainly descriptive of. There's a kitchen for family members to make meals, spend time together. There's areas for children for games. There's a wonderful fireplace if you can envision sitting with your loved one in front of a fireplace, and music and quiet and solitude, or just, as you said, lots of laughter and giggles and
That's right.
and tears. It's all part.
It's part of the human experience of being who we are every day.
Yep.
And what I really like as well is even in every patient's room, they're big enough that if the family wants to stay the night, there's a bed in there for the family member to just be present and to be there in that patient's life.
And it really looks like a bedroom. It does not
does.
look like a hospital room, and where the medical equipment is all there because it needs to be there at that particular time. This is set up. Everything is there that you need, but it's in such a unique setting.
Yes, and the only and to have this as part of the organization, the Hospice House existence, is one of the treasures that it is when a patient's symptoms are having a harder time to be controlled at the house. That's the reason why we would make a trip to the hospice house, is to get symptoms managed there. Or let's say the caregiver is just exhausted from the journey, or they have a wedding or a funeral in their family or an event that they need to be at for the day, but their love for their loved one needs to be continued on today. Well, that patient can come to the hospice house for the day or for the week, whatever the case is.
So there is respite care.
There's respite care at the hospice house, along with residential. We also have that as an option at the hospice house, where an individual can pay to stay there if that's the choice that they wanted to do, instead of maybe a nursing home environment, or the patient was living alone and was no longer able to take care of themselves in that situation, and they thought this was the best option, to come to the hospice house instead. That is absolutely one of the 3 options at the hospice house. So we're fortunate.
And you mentioned early on, too, that I think it's real important for people to understand that Hospice of the Ozarks is a not-for-profit.
Yes, ma'am.
As is the hospital, and any monies raised go right back into Hospice of the Ozark, or any monies raised go right back into the hospital for new equipment, for whatever it is that you need.
Exactly. Whatever the mission is calling for, the needs for that particular day or week, all the donors, the donations, any income that comes into the organization fully funds the mission. It's not going to an individual or a group of owners or anything like that. It is truly a mission-driven organization. And there are not-for-profit hospices that are growing less in number in this country. It used to be 50-50. Hospices across the country were not-for-profit and for-profit. Now there's only 30% of the hospices in this country are not-for-profit.
Oh my.
So there's a big change that is going on in the hospice community.
What do you think has caused that?
There are a lot of mergers that are happening, and there are some large for-profit hospice chains in this country that are simply buying up a lot of the not-for-profit organizations that are either maybe struggling economically in their community. There's so many different variables that can be happening, but that is becoming much more common. So for us to have a 33-year-old pioneer organization of Arkansas.
They did it right.
They did it right.
Right
It's lasted well
Yeah.
It's been steadfast. It's been sure. Sure, it's going to be tested. All things are, but it's proven itself even in
Over
those
and
times of
over.
testing that it is a worthwhile mission and cause. To have a dedicated board of directors all these years that see that vision, to see for the staff, the volunteers, that's phenomenal. That's why it exists the way it does.
Well, Greg, I want to thank you so much for bringing all of this wonderful information to us today.
Absolutely.
About Hospice of the Ozarks, and welcome you to the area. We're so glad you're here.
I'm so thankful too, Donna.
And
Thank you
would
so
you come
much.
back and visit us again?
I would love to visit with you more.
Please do, because I want to hear some stories next time.
I do have them.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this morning. We need to take a short commercial break, and we're going to have some new guests when we come back. Thank you so much.